Hey everybody, welcome back to month 9, week 3 of Discipline of the Month. This month we're talking about journaling. If you remember in the first week, we talked about the idea of journaling being a process, a spiritual practice, whereby we clear some of the voices in our mind and some of our own thoughts and feelings as a way of processing those, as a way of growing closer to God and being able to hear Him more clearly. In the first week we talked about just do something. Just take the time, a couple minutes a day, and start writing some of your thoughts. Maybe it's a gratitude list and you're writing the things you're thankful for. In week 2, we took it a little bit deeper and talked about the idea of morning and evening, looking forward and looking backward type journaling, and also had the idea of the app, which I got from this lovely young lady here. If you remember, our theme for week 3 from months past is barriers. And it is my great pleasure to interview my absolute favorite person from the entire river, the lovely Mrs. Rachel Landrum. Rachel, we were talking earlier, and you were telling me about some of the barriers that you had overcome in getting started journaling to begin with. Would you tell them what you told me?
Alright, so some of the barriers I've experienced were, one was feeling like I'd have the time to do it. I have the idea in my head that journaling was sitting down quietly in the morning with a cup of coffee and taking some time to reflect and write things out, which I think is wonderful, but not very practical for our household. So I very quickly could say, oh, I don't have time for that, you know, it's okay, I just don't need to do it. I guess another one felt like maybe I wasn't in the right spiritual spot to start journaling. I felt like maybe I needed to practice things more or have more insight, maybe do some more Bible reading or something to prepare to be able to properly journal, and felt like there, I guess, was more ideas in my own opinion of what that would look like and whether or not I was at the level to be able to do that.
I doubt that there's anybody else who's watching this who feels like, one, they don't have enough time, or two, that in approaching God or in practicing spiritual matters, we have to get other things taken care of first and really kind of graduate to an elevated status. Then we can practice other things. So I'm sure that you're speaking to people who have no frame of reference of what you're talking about. What I loved in our conversation as we were talking this through is you started to tell me that just pushing through, just doing something and beginning, you had a breakthrough. And now why don't you tell me what it is that you found now that you've been practicing journaling every day for a while?
So I actually disliked that I liked the practice because I was a very firm believer that I was just not a journaling type of person. There's journaling people and there's not, and I was not one of them, you know. But I actually really enjoy it. So I was telling Brad that I had missed one day, like I thought I had written, and I was like, oh yeah, and then it got late and I was like, oh wait, was that today? So I didn't even remember, and I was like, oh my gosh, I missed a day. So it didn't matter, I could add in any information I wanted. And so after that first day, I loved it. It's a really, I found it's a nice way to let go of things. I like to remember stuff, like I pride in feeling like I remember and I'm gonna know what's going on, and I love to plan. And so it's a way that whether it's things that didn't go great and I want to change it to things that are wonderful, instead of holding all that in, trying to remember it all, writing that out or typing it out was freeing to let it go, to have room for anything else that I was thinking, feeling, gonna have go on. So it was really a very freeing exercise.
So there you have it. These are some of the barriers and the obstacles, and then also the benefit on the other side. So let's keep practicing, and we'll see you back next week. As a reminder, even though I'm not standing in front of the chalkboard today, if you've been practicing as a way of increasing our corporate discipleship muscle, growing stronger together, intentionally, not perfectly, we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for intention. If you've been intentional about practicing the discipline, shoot me a message and I'll write your name up on the board. It gives us a visual representation of how we as the river are growing in our discipleship muscles. We'll see you back next week.